r/AskReddit. What's the nicest thing a stranger, who you never met again, has done for you? When I was about 5 in the mid-70s, I was sitting on one of the mechanical horses that rock back and forth outside of a Woolworths, I think, and playing while I was waiting for my mom who was in the store. Some lady walked by and put a quarter in to make it go. I was over the moon. It is a moment of pure joy that I've remembered vividly. I still even remember what that glorious kind stranger looked like. When I was 12, I was on my way back home from school. I was riding my bicycle, and at this crossing, a car in a traffic jam made space to let me through. While crossing the road, I got hit by this driver, trying to overtake the whole lane, so he wouldn't have to wait out the traffic jam. The car hit me, scooped me up, launched me into the air, which resulted in a broken kneecap, a broken nose and a broken rib for me. The driver fled the scene. The driver who let me pass took care of me till the ambulance arrived and made sure I stayed awake. Now that's not where it ends. The guy who took care of me was so mad about the driver fleeing the scene that he actually put some advertisements in a few national newspapers describing the car and where the car might have possibly been damaged. After 3 days, the guy turned himself in, claiming that the advertisement led people to figure out what he did and threatened him. So a random stranger spent quite some money on getting an advertisement out so the guy who ran me over could be found. I never heard from that stranger after, but I'm pretty sure the driver wouldn't have turned himself in if it weren't for the ads. When I was 12 or 13, I bailed hard rollerblading down a big hill on a busy street, busted my knee open pretty good. People just kept passing by before an old couple finally stopped to help me. My parents that morning had told me to wear my pads, but I hated them and stashed them in my backpack. Anyways, in my agony, I was screaming how I should have listened to my parents and worn my pads. Fast forward 2 weeks and I've got 10 stitches in my knee, using crutches to walk. I get called down to the office and the principal hands me a card and a gift wrapped box. I read the card and it's the old couple wishing me well and a speedy recovery. In the box, a Discman. My first ever. A few days after that, my family and I went to their house to thank them for helping me and the gift. Never heard from them again, but I'll always remember them. I was so cool with my Discman. A guy named Jason sat with me after I got hit by a car. He waited when no one else did, made sure I didn't die by the side of the road, and got help. I owe that guy my life. I have told this story before, but I had a similar experience. I was 17 and a woman took a left turn into my car. I had only had the car for a few months. I was incredibly shaken up. A third of my car was destroyed, but luckily no one was injured. A witness sat with me. He wanted to make sure the police knew I wasn't at fault. He acted as liaison to police for me. I was so damn shaken. It didn't end there. He sat with me for over an hour while I waited for my dad to pick me up. We talked. He really calmed me down. He told me his wife was expecting a baby soon. That was 11 years ago, and I just like to think that there's this amazing 10 or 11-year-old out there with the best damn dad. I never got his name, but I'll never forget his kindness. I did this for an elderly woman who flipped her van. She was on back roads away from civilization and I came across the accident by chance. She had a bad concussion and was stuck inside the vehicle, so I called it in and sat with her until the EMT showed up. Never saw her again. I've always wanted to tell this story because I feel like it's a way I can kind of thank him. My boyfriend and I went to Niagara Falls for a weekend last summer as a small vacation while we were out of school. We are both in university and don't have all the money in the world, and since Niagara Falls was close for us, it was a quick and cheap getaway we could enjoy together. Anyways, both him and I love fine dining, but don't get the chance to enjoy it very often. There was a beautiful high-class gourmet restaurant in town that we decided to try, and we were quite excited. We got all dressed up and walked to the restaurant, and it was beautiful. Stunning decor and lighting, and the environment was very classy and comfortable. The menu prices were in the 40s 50s for entrees. Since eating out was something that we loved to do, but didn't get a chance to do very often, we decided to enjoy it and splurge some money because we deserved it, but still go for the cheaper end of things. The waitress came up and asked what we would like to drink, and we both decided on a beer. While we were waiting, we noticed a man sitting a few tables down with us, eating dinner with a woman and a young girl that didn't appear to be his. He smiled at us, and we smiled back thinking nothing of it, just a friendly gesture. We then each ordered an appetizer and waited for them to arrive. After the man and his date had left, the waitress walked up to us very surprised looking. She told us that the man had put a $200 credit on our bill and paid for our entire meal. I was shocked. We hadn't even spent that much because we couldn't have afforded it. My boyfriend and I looked at each other and I started to cry. He hadn't even known our situation, and I'm not even sure why he did it, but with that trip being all we could afford that summer, it meant the world to me, and all I wanted was to be able to say thank you. We decided to pay it forward by leaving about $50 as a tip from what he had given us. It was the least we could do in the situation. That act of kindness still means the world to me because eating there wasn't extremely affordable to us, and he made the trip so much better. TLDR. Random stranger pays for our bill at a very expensive restaurant after he leaves. Put me in tears because my boyfriend and I had to save to go to this restaurant and he paid our bill. This is something I love doing when my wife and I are out. It doesn't have to be anywhere great. A few months back, she and I were living/working in a small town in Ohio, and we drive over to Pittsburgh for dinner. Just PF Chang's, nothing crazy. We are sat on the bench, where tables are kind of lined up close, so we can hear everyone talking. The guy next to us is talking about his birthday. We tell the waitress to bring us their check and disappear. I think it cost us maybe $70 after tip, and the guy ran to flag us down and thank us. Do this for people sometimes. Paying for dinner at Olive Garden or something will cost you like $30, but you'll really make their day. We always try to leave before they find out though. I was working as a producer on a talk radio show. The show I was working on wasn't terribly popular, so we really wouldn't get many callers. So on my birthday day, I'm working like any other day when some guy calls in and gets his entire family to sing me happy birthday. He had never even called before and hasn't since. I've never met him. My day was instantly awesome. Edit. The caller knew it was my birthday because one of the hosts of the talk show said happy birthday to me at the opening of the show. You know, a stranger wishing you happy birthday might be one of the best things ever. My husband, then boyfriend, and I went to Disney with friends for my 23rd birthday, and I had an "it's my birthday" pin. I went up to a concession window, Tomorrowland Terrace, to get a hot chocolate, and was the only customer with about 10 windows of 20 employees just standing around. The guy hands me my cocoa and starts singing happy birthday, and all 20 employees chimed in, along with all the people sitting at tables behind me. It was pretty awesome. TLDR, like 50 strangers sang happy birthday to me in Disney World because yay people. Grew up in a small town in Texas with parents who are incredibly xenophobic and small-minded. My senior year of college, I landed an internship in New York City. I had never really been out of Texas before that. After months of dire warnings from my parents of things like, when you get there, don't look any strangers in the eye, I finally arrived at JFK. The cab drops me off at the apartment building, and I unload my 4 suitcases. Was going to be there 3 months. This guy walking into the building grabs one of my suitcases, and I thought, this is it. My parents were right. I've been in New York City 30 minutes and this guy is robbing me. Nope. He was just a nice guy who lived in my building, barely spoke any English, but grabbed my heaviest suitcase and walked it up the 4 flights of stairs to my apartment. As a Texan in my spending my first summer doing an internship in the South Loop of Chicago, I feel like I can relate, except no one ever warned me not to look strangers in the eye. After my first time walking home from work at 7 PM, I arrived home distraught from constantly being yelled at, should have figured it out, and already ready to leave. I stopped for a smoke and a man saw me, walked up to me, and asked what was wrong. He laughed at my response and gave me a quick rundown of the do's and don'ts of a big city. He allowed me to adjust and end up truly enjoying Chicago. When I first got to New York City for a business trip, I took the train in from the Newark airport. When I transferred to the subway, the escalators were all broken. A woman shouts "want a hand?" and grabs my luggage. I too thought it was a scam and she was going to steal my everything. Nope, she just helped me haul my biggest suitcase up 2.5 flights of stairs, then turned away without a word and ran back down the stairs to catch her train. New Yorkers are busy people, not mean people. It always shocks me when people are surprised by kindness. Last weekend a couple new people were moving into my building. I gave some people a tip about using an elevator. Another group was having a pain in the time with the door, so I propped it open with my doorstop until they were done moving. A woman in the first group gave me cookies and a guy in the second group offered me money. Like they're not used to kindness being offered without something in return. To this day, because of a stranger, I have learned to never judge people by their appearance. Rewind to 2008. I'm driving from home to college. I'm about 50 miles from the town my college is in, and I pull off to get gas. As I'm filling up my tank, there is a car next to me that has what you would call people who look white trash and are in a car that looks like a hybrid of Fast and Furious / lowrider. I'm sitting there pumping my gas and just unnecessarily judging the crap out of the people in the car. It was a couple with a young baby. As I'm pumping my gas, the husband goes into the gas station to pay, and as he is passing my car on the way out tells me I have a flat tire on the passenger side. I would have never seen this because my gas tank is on the driver's side. Now here I am, a snooty college kid, and I have no freaking idea how to change a flat. I grab the spare and the guy just says, "Do you need help?" I said no, I can figure it out, and he walks away. So I'm sitting there like a freaking idiot trying to change a tire completely wrong, and the guy comes back with a hydraulic jack, a nice tire iron, and some other tools. He says, "Let me help you, man. You don't have this stuff," and changes my freaking tire. Literally got all dirty. His wife said they were happy to do it and didn't accept the $20 I had on me. Kindest freaking people I ever met. Made me feel like such a jerk for the unnecessary judging I did, but taught me a valuable lesson. If you end a situation as a better person than you were before you were in the situation, it's a positive experience. Feeling bad about being a jerk is a good thing if it makes you less of a jerk. It was Christmas time and I worked in a toy store in a mall. A teenage girl came in wearing a t-shirt with the logo of my favorite video game on it. I complimented her shirt and asked her where she had gotten it because I've never been able to find that video game on a women's shirt, only men's before. She told me where she got it and then she left. I went into the break room to tell my boyfriend to buy it for me for Christmas, and when I came out of the break room, she was waiting for me. She handed me a bag and said "Merry Christmas. I hope I got the size right," and left. She went out and bought me the shirt, and it was the sweetest thing ever. Oh, that's so sweet. My aunt did a similar thing once. She was posting Christmas gifts and the post office staff were really run off their feet because everyone was posting heaps of stuff. She gets chatting with the post office lady processing her packages, and it turned out she had a terrible cold. My aunt went and bought a bunch of cold and flu stuff, nice tissues, some nice smelling stuff to clear your sinuses, etc., and a box of chocolates. She said the post office lady looked like she was about to cry when she gave it to her. The nicest thing that has ever happened to me randomly came from the first American person I ever spoke to. First time in the USA, I was visiting my girlfriend in Minneapolis, traveling from Europe. It was the day after Christmas. My flight landed at Chicago, and I had to wait another 4 hours for my connecting flight. It had been a long flight, and I really didn't feel like waiting around at the airport. So I went to the airline counter to get my boarding pass and randomly asked the lady if there was an earlier flight I could take. I haven't met my girlfriend in 10 months. I'll even pay the extra difference. Sure thing, you can take the flight in an hour from now, but the difference would be $75. You can find an ATM round the corner. I went to the ATM, got the money and came back. She had my ticket ready in her hands. No need to pay me. Merry Christmas. I just stared at her for a few seconds. Honestly, no one has ever done something so nice so randomly for me. In between repeated thanks, I even borrowed her phone and called my girlfriend to say I'd be reaching early. Airline lady took the phone and told her that she was helping me out only on the condition that I proposed to her soon, and she could tell looking at me that I was a sly one, so she better lock me down ASAP. She was so awesome. I'll be proposing soon, almost 2 years later, and I wanna thank her again somehow. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment down below. Please subscribe and click the notification bell for more videos like this. Don't forget to leave your stories in the comments below.